Hi, my name's Terry Whitney, and I'm running for Township Supervisor. And I'm here tonight because this is my second take. I'm here tonight doing my second take because of censorship and somebody interfering with an election, using their position of power in this city to censor my infomercial, so to speak, because they're afraid of what I have to say. They're a bully, but I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them at all. In fact, I'm here tonight at an extreme cost to myself, my time, and resources, because this is more important. That bully in question, he's picked the wrong fight. You know, I mean, most political candidates, we say what we like. We have our issues. We have the free speech. In this country, you have the right to say literally anything you want. And political candidates even are given larger leeway to say whatever the heck they want, because a lot of it might be puffery and might not. But that being said, we have a bully, and I don't put up with bullies. So I want to tell everybody who might be watching that this bully in question, who I can't use his name, who happens to be the supervisor, has used his position to make sure that I'm here retaking this shoot tonight. So I'm here. We're all redoing this. And I have to ask the question, why am I doing this? And the reason is that he is using his position of power to threaten people. That's just how it is. So if you happen to feel that there is something wrong and something illegal going on here in the city or the state, you are protected by the Michigan Whistleblowers Act. And I don't put up with it. Nobody puts up with it. There are vast quantities of legal resources available to you. You have the right to sue the city. You have the right to report a crime without fear of remuneration, without fear of any form of retaliation against you. If they dock your pay, whether they cut your hours, whatever they do, you can sue the city and you'll get reinstated. And if you don't get reinstated, and you somehow, for some unknown reason, which only happens less than 1% of the time, lose, I'll find you a better job, a lot better job, making a lot more money. My phone number is 248-722-6582. And once again, you can look it up. It's called the Michigan Whistleblowers Protection Act. But enough about that. I started running for this position, for supervisor, because I look around the township and I'm stuck in traffic like everybody else. It's terrible. 2 hours to move a quarter mile. It's bad planning, and it's decades of bad planning. We have the same board for the last 2 decades. All those individuals have just sloughed off. Pardon the language, but they don't look at things. And when you hear about things like code enforcement, which is the supervisor's job, you hear about environmental protection, which is the supervisor's job, none of that's being done. Instead, they're just worried about making sure the developers are okay. Case in point, we have a gigantic monstrosity construction here on Walton Boulevard. It's a mess. It's terrible. Originally, it was supposed to have almost a 20-plus acre park in the center of it. And then the houses are going to be around the park, built around the park, and then you're going to have this really nice shopping center. Well, that's been cut down to less than 6 acres, and the township, aka all of us taxpayers, are going to be the ones to pay for it because somebody on the board or the board collectively just passed along a really bad contract because somebody's doing photo ops. Somebody would rather do photo ops with international news organizations and boxers than read a contract and make sure it's correct. That's 600 grand, not a big deal. I mean, it's all going to come out of our pockets. I mean, we could have used that 600 grand, for instance, to build a really nice restroom near one of our nice lakes here, so that it's not a EPA disaster waiting to happen. I mean, porta potty's nice and all, but they're gross. They're really gross. And if it happens to leak into the local lake, the EPA is going to shut us down, and it's going to fine the city, and it's going to cost us a lot of money to clean up, to make it back to EPA spec. Not to mention the complete disaster of what it will do to the wildlife, and shutting down the lake, and everybody enjoys that lake. So I just want you to think about that, but that's, just 600 grand. Here or there, can't be bothered. So next item on the list is we're going to talk about $40,000. See, at the beginning of the year, there was a budget. The supervisor in question blew through the entire legal budget in the first month. Yeah, the literally first month. It's supposed to last you the entire year, and it was actually has like a 20% buffer. So I mean, but he blew through it in the first month, and then he proceeded to spend roughly an additional $40,000 over the next several months. And he, the treasurer, and the clerk knew about it, but they failed to disclose that to the rest of the board, and they failed, and the rest of us taxpayers, because it's an election year. Now, I'm not an attorney. By no means am I an attorney, but when you look at, handling money in a publicly traded organization, and you fail to report said monies of whatever it is of a public organization, because for whatever reason you're afraid of an election or whatever it is. I think there's more to this story. Thank God there was two treasurers who actually, they're not treasurer, but two trustees who actually forced the issue to the floor and before the board, so we actually know about it. Otherwise, it would have gone just right through primaries, and we'd be stuck with potentially just another choice, so to speak. That being said, we're only at 640. We've also hired an HR personnel. Normally this was done for 2+ decades by the supervisor. He handled HR and head of personnel. Unfortunately, the person in question can't do that, so we hired somebody else. So we're paying roughly, I mean, this is a guess, but we're paying roughly $80,000 for this individual. So we're now at right around $720 this year alone spent. Then there's the whole issue of just, this is only a couple months, guys. I mean, we still have 6 months to go, and how many legal fees is this individual going to rack up? Here and there, moving right along, we can continue to talk about the various issues and failures like code enforcement, which I think I've already covered, the disaster of the wetland, the project over off Sashabaw by the Tim Hortons. If you're not aware, apparently there's some fill dirt there that just mysteriously showed up. And that dirt is rolling into the local ravine and potentially our ground and drinking water. And there's some, various erosion control measures that are not being taken care of. And supposedly the supervisor may have known about it for months and months. And instead of choosing to enforce protection laws because that's actually what the supervisor does, he chose to ignore it. So I've gone ahead and taken the necessary steps to inform the EPA myself that there's something going on here, and maybe they need to look into it. But moving right along, let's actually talk about what we're going to do better. We're going to have a transparent government, and I'm not talking just this BS transparency that every candidate likes to come over and talk about. We're actually going to have actionable results. We are going to implement a ticketing system so that when you come before the board or come and have an issue anywhere, lo and behold, you're given a ticket, and you're going to be able to track that ticket. And if there's a problem with that ticket, you're going to be able to hold whoever is holding that process up accountable. Because I do process automation. I've done it for decades. We are going to make this the most transparent, effective, and efficient piece of government you've ever seen. And it's going to be scary because you'll be able to hold everybody accountable. We're also going to open up the government back to 5 days a week. There's 1,733 cities in this state, and we're the only one that is closed on Friday because we're worried about the employees, but we're not worried about the citizens who actually pay for the employees. So that's going to be an issue. Also, we're going to expand service hours. When there's a township board meeting, you should be able to go in there, do whatever you need to do, and take care of it. And if there's an issue, you come downstairs and you hold the board accountable, and the board will listen. And if the board doesn't listen, at least I will listen. So when you have a choice, and when you're thinking about why I'm up here today, I want you to think about voting for me, because at least I'll clean it up. Thank you.